bald eagle parents will be constantly protecting and feeding their chicks for the next 11 weeks. It'll be a relentless job. The Arizona desert is the perfect environment to build a nest and rear the young eagles in a safe background. What really makes the difference is the presence of the nearby river, a vital source of food and nourishment. Hunting is what Mother Eagle does best. She's able to spot the fish from a great distance. She keeps an eye on her prey and hits in one fell swoop. This lucky year, there's so much fish to feed the hungry chicks with. They constantly need more and more. Sometimes, without much food around, things might take a different turn. Generally, the younger chick is bound to succumb as the parents focus more on the older and stronger newborn to make sure that one at least will be able to grow. Luckily, this time around, finding food is not a problem, and both parents share their duties as they take good care of their offspring in the nest. It might take quite some time for the chicks to spread their wings so regally in the sky. Slowly but steadily, the chicks will learn how to survive from their parents. As seasons change, the baby birds are fledging and turning into adults. Long wing and tail feathers are the last to grow completely. For the next 3 weeks, the fledgling will be practicing her moves and honing her skills as muscles develop enough to finally leave the nest. It's never easy. Self-confidence also comes from observing what her mother is doing. Until the time is right. Flying means freedom, independence. To the herd. A female calf that will have to learn everything she needs from her family. Still blind, as all babies are, she's tottering towards her mother, going straight for her favourite drink. Strong and healthy is all she needs to be, to keep the pace of the herd as they move on to seek out some food. Mother always double-checks what lies ahead of her baby. The uneven and muddy ground under her shaky legs might require some help. Swimming is a brand new task, as much as is experimenting how to properly use her trunk in deeper water. Anyway, Mother is always nearby. Her lifelong adventure has just begun. Everything is so new to her. After her first swim, a developing sense of self-confidence is reassuring. But it's going to take some more practice to fully use that trunk, which is just a limp protuberance at this early stage. She'll get there. Skillful use of the trunk makes life easier. But it can't be achieved without daily training. When even pulling grass off the ground is still difficult, grazing comes in handy. Excrement could become an easier nourishing substitute to eat, like grass with a baby food texture of sorts. Drinking is also a hard endeavour if water keeps slipping out of her mouth. Older members are always there to help. And keep an eye on the young calf as she starts playing around with all those new things around her. Other elephant families gather around the thriving grasslands after the rainy season. Nothing more enticing than possible new playmates, but she'd better beware. Being around strangers might turn into harassment and then abduction. She's learning how important her family is as they come rushing to get her out of trouble. Her worried mother draws her away from the dangerous commotion to safer ground. Day by day, there will be so much to experience and so much more to learn. It'll take quite some time. One wrong move, and there won't be a second chance. To stumble down would imply an even worse drama for this female orangutan carrying her only baby. Hanging on to her mum is all this baby orang has been up to since day one. Looking around for food keeps her busy relentlessly. The baby makes her first shy attempts to take a look around. But virtually nothing would be possible without her mother's presence. Watching and learning from a safe place by mum's side cannot last forever. This is one of life's basic rules. 1 year old, and it's about time to learn how to climb a tree properly. Yet it takes practice even for those born with a natural skill for climbing. Mother knows all the right spots to find food throughout the forests. She's showing her daughter what the right things to do are by example. It's a natural process, which is going to lead the baby to find her own way through the plush vegetation. Usually females stick around the same neighborhood they are more familiar with. Occasionally some fruits grow in between territories, and members of different families gather around for their share. That's a perfect moment to socialize and play. A lack of experience could be tricky and turn the game into danger. This baby orang will be raised by his mother for the next 5 years. There's plenty of time ahead for her to grow stronger and wiser until the right moment comes to live on her own. Wonderful creature is indeed a fish. Fastening its tail to a steady place is now needed to provide safety to a forthcoming birth. This is even more amazing because this is a male. In the brood pouch, eggs have been nurtured for up to 6 weeks, and now the tiny newborn are ready to surface. After labour and delivery, the parental commitment is over. Now these 1 centimetre offspring basically have to rely on their own resources. They float along the current as their journey. They are able to use rock tools to crack open their preferred selection of shellfish. Just a quick bite before going back to take care of her pup. The baby can't swim yet, and her mother is there to serve as a floating device, as well as fully grooming her. Throughout this caring process, Mother Otter will make sure to puff air into the baby's fur to both form a shield against the cold and also to help her buoyancy. Now done with the grooming, it's time again for the mother to dive underwater to search for food in the thick brown seaweed forest. Bite after bite, the pup is now big enough for a brand new endeavour, discovering what's underneath the surface and going hunting for the very first time, as her mother has showed her. A can of soda isn't really edible, although it's enough to draw her attention and curiosity. The more experienced mother pries open a tasty clam, so it's better to give it another try. Learning through doing, as well as from her mother's example, is all she has to do to start picking the right shellfish anchored on the rocks and crack them open. It didn't take long to get it right. She finally did it. It's a top-notch meal this time around, and it's all hers. Oddly enough, somebody is furtively hiding in the kelp forest for all the bad reasons. A male otter shows up to steal the catch from the mother, and the pup's abduction may also become a way to obtain shellfish by threat. But today, before they are even born, these minute bullfrogs are already fighting to survive. They first appear still as eggs in rainwater puddles bound to dry up soon. Thousands of tadpoles have only 2 days to hatch and swim for the first time into the ever-receding water. Through a secretion of their skin, they mutually identify themselves and swim along in swarms for safety reasons. It won't be an easy journey to adulthood, as the water level goes down rapidly. Some other fatal hurdles will also be in their way. Once again, some chemical substances have helped to deter possible predators. But that doesn't seem to work with this kind of snake. It's so fortunate that their father has been watching over them. Now the situation could become hairy for the snake. Male bullfrogs take good care of their numerous brood and are always ready to confront any possible foe. Plus, adult bullfrogs have snakes in their list of edible options. Better slither off and hide. At this early stage, tadpoles are definitely a juicy bite for many predators out there, so father's protection is needed. But nothing is more lethal for this species than the lack of their vital element, water. The adult skin remains moisturized by another gooey secretion of theirs, yet tadpoles do not produce it yet. As time goes by, the heat of the sun dries up the puddle, and their luck seems to be doomed. Their father gets busy digging a ditch to make them flow toward deeper water, and vice versa. But time is running out. And many will succumb helplessly. Unexpectedly, some water seems to move in their direction, and the dried up infants now have a way to swim through and go back to life again. The race against time is on again as the infant frogs start feeding themselves frantically. They instinctively know that there's little time to grow into their adult form. Finally, this change to come will allow them to breathe properly, no matter how deep the pond is. The metamorphosis starts when they are only 18 days old, and their indistinct black mass will soon turn into a colourful and agile adult. As froglets, they have now developed their own lungs and can finally leap freely onto the land.